More than anything else, the readings appointed for today provide an invitation to engage what many might consider unchristian behavior, even anti-Christian behavior. Being Episcopalians, we don't consider public drunkenness so much disgraceful behavior as distasteful behavior. But then we have been known to classify bad taste as the ultimate sin. And let's face it, 180 gallons is a lot of wine to be consumed at even a very large wedding going on for several days. We know that Cana was a very small village, maybe the size of Midvale. So, even if everyone attended the wedding, and they would have had a difficult time consuming 6 stone water jars, each filled with 30 gallons of wine, even very good wine. So, was there actually such a wedding? A real knee crawler in today's visit? If so, and such a party took place today, when guests drive cars to attend, Jesus might have ended up being charged with inducing people to drive drunk. But none of that is St. John's point in telling the story. He told it to reveal how Christ's mere presence creates a celebration. Whatever he touches becomes the best, simply by his divine presence. Isaiah uses the same kind of imagery to show God's blessing of the holy city of Jerusalem, which had been threatened by Assyrians, Babylonians, and the Persian empires, and unsuccessfully sought an alliance with whichever empire was least threatening. When Judea abandoned negotiating alliances and turned to God for salvation was achieved. I see a lesson here as well. Our current situation is not much different from that facing Jerusalem. We, in what is known as the Western world, see ourselves as threatened by rapidly developing enemies seeking to replace us as the dominating power. Some, especially here in the U.S., elicit God's help, going so far as to tell him what needs doing and how we expect him to do it. Unlike Isaiah and all the prophets, they assume the power of God to advance their own personal agenda. For example, in today's reading, Isaiah uses the analogy of marriage to illustrate the kind of relationship we should have with God. For as a young man marries a young woman, so shall your builder marry you. And as the bridegroom rejoices over the bride, so shall your God rejoice over you. Too many people calling themselves Christians today take this to mean that God condemns us for permitting same-sex marriage. Our route to redemption, they assert, demands that we exclude all these people. It is tempting for us to use this grievous error to accuse them of blasphemy, which may be true, but only aggravates the situation. I believe our best response is to accept the fact that these people are frightened and looking to themselves for redemption rather than to God. We should not make the same mistake. Like St. Paul, we should look to the common good. If the Holy Spirit has given us wisdom, we need to use it for reconciliation, to understand the fears and apprehensions of those with whom we disagree, and bring them to God through the power of healing. This way, we all can share the gifts of the Holy Spirit and bring each other to the unconditional love of God. All this requires is our own unconditional love, which brings not simply tolerance, but acceptance. As God accepts us just as we are, we need to accept each other for the common good.